Hey everybody, Nitz the Gamer here, and here is my review on Uncharted. Uncharted. So, yeah, this is the Nathan Drake collection that I got with the PlayStation 4 that I got 2 or 3 days after Christmas. And the Nathan Drake collection is a remastered edition of the first 3 games, Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception. And then, of course, there's going to be a 4th one coming out soon entitled A Thief's End. So yeah, if I'm gonna get into the Uncharted series or get into A Thief's End, then it only makes sense that I go through the first 3 games. So far, I've only gone through the first game, and I'm here to do a review of Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So Drake's Fortune came out in 2007, no surprise there, as it's pretty much a third-person shooter where you have to find a secret treasure that Sir Francis Drake was going after. Now, in actual history, Sir Francis Drake was a real person who died of dysentery at the age of 55, in which he was buried in a lead coffin into the middle of the sea. So the game starts off where we have Nathan Drake, who finds the lead coffin in the middle of the sea, and he has Elena Fisher, who is a television personality who pretty much films stuff on archaeology and all that sort of stuff. They find the lead coffin in the middle of the ocean, which should have Francis Drake's body in it. But upon opening it, they find that it's an empty coffin. But what's left behind is a journal to which Sir Francis Drake was searching for El Dorado. So yeah, pretty much the plot is that Nathan Drake is a descendant of Sir Francis Drake himself, and Sir Francis Drake faked his death, in which the lead coffin was an entire fake setup to which he used to his advantage to find El Dorado. So that's pretty much what Nathan and his companion Sully have to find. But of course, when we have Elena who tags along, she really has no idea what the heck Nathan is getting himself into, as he didn't pay a permit for the frickin' boat.
Yeah, so unless you want to end up in a Panamanian jail, we should probably handle this ourselves.
Well, what's worse?
You obviously haven't been in a Panamanian jail. Do you know how to use one of these?
Yeah, it's like a camera. You point and shoot, right?
Good girl.
So they get attacked by a bunch of pirates, to which Elena gets ditched by the guys, and the guys pretty much go and find El Dorado, to which they find a ship, to which Sully gets shot by the bad guys, to which Nathan runs into Elena, to which she gives him the gun, and yeah. Pretty much the entire journey is Nathan Drake and Elena Fisher going to El Dorado and trying to find the treasure before these other guys get it first. And yeah, these other guys, they're led by this guy named Gabriel Roman. And yeah, you don't really fight him as an NPC, as he has 2 other people who are in command. Eddie Raja, who is Nathan Drake's friend, who is leading the pirates. And you have another guy, I forget his name, but I think it was like Narado. Yeah, so you have like these 2 guys that assemble their men to attack Drake, which actually does make the setup confusing on who's actually behind it. And it's pretty much a race for Nathan Drake to get to the treasure first before Roman does. So yeah, that's pretty much the plot of Uncharted, and yeah, as a whole, it's a really great game. I kind of gave away the verdict, but it is a really great game, and yeah, being someone who hasn't played PlayStation during his childhood age and all that, I'll definitely admit, Uncharted is a really great game to get into once you're around that teenage age, or once you start getting used to third-person shooters, which is something that I'm not really used to. I mean, the only other third-person shooter I can think of that I did actually get good at was in Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise of the Tomb Raider. But in this game, it does have its unique controls when it comes to combat and all that. And yeah, in some ways, some people are kind of mixed when it comes to the combat system, as it can get repetitive in some moments. And yeah, it can. Like, I was kind of like, you know what, I'll take the challenge and actually play this game on hard.
You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
So for a while, I was playing this game on hard. I was doing fine. I had a decent challenge along the way. And then once I started to get to like chapter 5, it just got tedious. Like, it really got so hard to fight these sons of bitches off and all that, that eventually, somewhere in chapter 16, I pretty much just had to change it to normal. So yeah, pretty much only got the trophy for easy and normal. So yeah, pretty much the first 6 chapters, everything that I did on hard was a waste of time, which totally sucked. But hey, it's gonna just frustrate me more if I did leave it on hard. And if I did leave it on hard, then I probably wouldn't be giving this game a fair review. And yeah, the combat system is pretty unique in its own way. I mean, you have like 2 different weapons, actually 3 different weapons that you can use to your advantage. A handgun, a rifle, or a shotgun, or grenades. Or you can do hand-to-hand combat and all that and punch the guys out, which I barely have done in the game because there's so many guys shooting at you that it's so easy to get killed if you're not taking cover. And yeah, you have to press the circle button in order to take cover, in which you can either press the L button to get out of cover and start shooting up some bad guys with the R button, or you can press the R button to shoot blindly. So when you're doing blind shots, you're kind of just hidden while bullets are flying at you, and then you can just do blind shots where it's like that, and you pretty much are taking a raw advantage of where you're shooting and all that, which can be useful in some areas, especially in the later parts of the game. And yeah, the combat system is pretty solid for the most part, but it can get really tedious. I mean, once you start fighting these guys, you're going to be fighting them a lot. I mean, they cover up like 90% of the game compared to the puzzle solving, which, yeah, can be a problem, but the combat system is pretty solid, and I did have a good time when I wasn't having such a tedious time during the hard mode. So yeah, there's not much to complain with the combat. It's just it can get very repetitive if you're not good with third-person shooting. And as for the platforming themselves, those are really good too. There's really not much puzzle solving in the actual game, but there are a lot of platforms where you have to parkour through the area and all that, and pretty much hang off of ledges, solve puzzles and all that, and for the most part, it's decent. I mean, I wouldn't say it's really great, but there's not a lot of it, to be honest, and the thing is that sometimes it's hard to tell where you're going. I mean, maybe it's for the fact that I didn't have the brightness high enough, but the thing is that there's some platforms where you don't know where you're supposed to grab onto. Or heck, sometimes there are like chains or vines that you're supposed to grab onto, and sometimes you don't even know that it's there until you actually take the jump. And yeah, parts of that can get pretty annoying, but honestly, when I'm doing like the climbing and all that, it's a perfect break when it comes to doing a lot of combating and shooting random bad guys, all that sort of stuff. I mean, when you're shooting people, it just gets really repetitive. So when you're climbing like the side of the towers and all that, that's when you get a really good break and you start to like think your way through all these puzzles and problems and how to get through certain areas of the game. And yeah, there's a total of 22 chapters, and some chapters are longer than others, and Chapter 18, holy shit, Chapter 18, just holy crap, the bunker level. If you guys know what I'm talking about and you played this game, just holy crap, the game just suddenly went from an action-adventure third-person shooter to a freaking horror game, and yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, it gets really creepy, and but regardless, it was still fun to go through and all that, and I really did like the bunker level in the end. And yeah, so the game is actually a really great game and all that, and it has a really great story and all that. As I said, it connects to Sir Francis Drake, and then bring in the whole mythos of El Dorado, and then also the fact that Nathan Drake is a descendant or a possible descendant of Francis Drake himself, which is sort of confirmed. Like, it never gives you a solid answer, but Nathan does have like a necklace or a ring that actually proves that he's probably a descendant of Francis Drake himself. So yeah, the whole plot with Nathan trying to find out the secrets of his ancestor is actually a really dang good plot and all that, and the plot for the most part is very, very basic. And yeah, there are supernatural elements during the third half and all that, but it's pretty good and it really does tie into the story very well. And yeah, I'm probably not giving much away when I say that I wasn't surprised when Sully turned out to be alive. I mean, we saw him get shot at the end of chapter 2 or 3, I forget what chapter, and then he pretty much turns out to be alive after he survived a bullet. So yeah, it wasn't really much of a shock to me considering I saw the trailers for Uncharted 4, and of course he was still alive. And yeah, Sully is a really great companion and mentor to Nathan Drake. Elena Fisher, she's a really great companion to take along with Nathan, who, of course, isn't really used to this whole archaeology and trying to survive from bad guys and shoot them up and whatever. But the thing is, she gets really dang good at it, and for the most part, she's not really complaining. She's actually wanting to find out more about the secrets of Francis Drake and El Dorado and actually find out more about these secrets. And Elena Fisher, for the most part, even with her camera destroyed, still wants to carry on because she knows that if these bad guys do get the treasure, it can't be a good thing at all, even though at this point they don't know that the treasure is a bad thing. And yeah, you kind of might notice a similarity with this plot is that it's kind of similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark. If anything, Uncharted does play like an Indiana Jones game, where you pretty much have to climb walls and all that, push obstacles, shoot up some bad guys when you have a bunch of guns firing at you, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it does play off as an Indiana Jones adventure. Even the treasure that they're going after kind of reflects the Ark in a way, which, yeah, is actually pretty unique in a way, and as much as you can call it kind of like ripping off the plot and all that, you know what, I think this works to the game's advantage, especially with the type of story that Uncharted is going for. So yeah, great characters, great dialogue between them, great story. So, is there any problems with the game? Yes. Now, well, taking away the fact that a lot of the gameplay elements is obviously dated and that the physics engine will improve in years over time, I mean, keep in mind that what I'm reviewing is the remastered edition, and the graphics for the most part have been updated. And yeah, well, some of the physics and animation is definitely dated. You know what? It's still a solid game regardless. It's not like it dated very badly or anything. I mean, I think it aged, pretty well for the most part. It's just obviously the physics engine is very basic in this game. So yeah, what are the problems with this game? Well, if I had to be honest, despite the fact that this is a basic plot and all that, the problem with the game is that there's really no character development. Or, I don't know. Am I the only one who kind of feels like there's a lack of character development and all that? I mean, I kind of wanted to know more about Nathan Drake, you know, what built him up to be this archaeologist and such this badass who was shooting up people, like, what actually built him up to this moment and all that. And yeah, I guess you could make the Indiana Jones comparison where even the first movie doesn't actually answer that question. But you know what, it's kind of like really mysterious, like what built Nathan Drake up to this archaeologist, and we might get explained in later games, but the thing is, there was a prequel that came out for the handheld PlayStation game, I kind of forget what it's called at the moment, sorry PlayStation fans, and the thing is, I don't think I'm going to be playing that game, because I don't think I'm going to be getting the handheld PlayStation system anytime soon. So yeah, I kind of wish that I could know a little bit more about Nathan's character, as well as his connection to Eddie. And I wanted to know a little bit more about what their actual connection is. You know, what built him up to Eddie wanting to kill Nathan all of a sudden and all that. I mean, there is one companionship moment where they had to work together in order to survive, but other than that, there's really not much that actually explains, you know, what is their connection and all that, and I really wanted to know more about their connection, and that's something that we're never given. With Elena Fisher, there's really not much that we need to know about her. All we need to know is that she hosts a TV show and all that, she wants to find out more about El Dorado, and she wants herself to get involved in this case even though it's very dangerous, and she doesn't complain about it or anything, so yeah, I really have no problem with her character. Really, I think the only problem is definitely centered around Nathan Drake himself. There really is no development with this character or anything that changes. I mean, he does worry about Elena's safety. There's some moments where it looks like he's expressing doubt, but I don't know, there's really not much character development that actually changes him in an emotional way or anything. He kind of just does what he needs to do, shoot up some bad guys, help Elena helps him, and that's pretty much it. It's very basic. So yeah, does the lack of character development really ruin the game? No. I mean, the dialogue that Nathan has is really funny. I mean, he has such a cocky attitude and all that. And yeah, the conversations with him and Sully and him and Elena are really good and all that. And there's kind of the whole trust with whether or not if Sully's reliable or not. That's really good as well. And the thing is that the game as a whole, there's some moments where, yeah, it does kind of get repetitive. As I said, the combat sections can get very repetitive, especially if you're not good at a third-person shooting, or if you have the difficulty on hard, or the two difficulties that somehow come after that. And the thing is that the game itself kind of lacks replay value, to be honest. I mean, I would like to play the game even more with, you know, what is given and all that, but the thing is that it's kind of just one linear storyline that proceeds on ahead, and the only replay value is the treasures that you pick up, and for the fact that you can complete these chapters on a harder difficulty. So obviously, I only got the PS trophies for beating it on easy and normal, so obviously when I beat it on normal, then I get the easy trophy as well. And the thing is, you can select the individual chapters in the main menu, and you can set the difficulty, but for some reason, it doesn't actually count to give you a trophy, or even give you any of the treasures that you find. So yeah, if you want to find all the treasures, you have to do it during the gameplay, and once you beat the game, then the game starts back at Chapter 1, to which you have to beat the game from the start and try to get to the end on the hardest difficulty that you can manage. And the thing is, I managed to do it on normal, and I got frustrated when I was doing it on hard, so it's hard to say if I'll be playing the game again and trying to do hard and trying to do the next two difficulties, which I think is like Crushing and Explore. I don't know. One other problem with the game that I did have was Chapter 22. Now, without revealing too much, in Chapter 22, you have to stop the bad guy from getting away with the treasure on a boat. But the thing is that there's like 3 different phases. Yeah, just 3 different phases to facing up against the guy. The first 2 are very good, and what you have to be quite the sharpshooter and do a lot of blind shots, as I mentioned before, while the main bad guy is sniping you, and once he snipes you, it's an instant game over. And it puts up such a great challenge to once you get to the 3rd phase. The 3rd phase was kind of really underwhelming as a boss fight, and 1/3 of it is mostly quick time events. And yeah, that kind of does hold it back a little bit as being a really great conclusion. And yeah, as a whole, the game is still a great game. I mean, yeah, even though it does lack a little bit of replay value, and of course there's the lack of character development, and the combat sections can get tedious at times, it's still a really great game, and it's one that I would recommend. So, the final verdict for this game is gonna be a 8 out of 10. Pretty much what's holding it back is the lack of character development and kind of the lack of suspense. I mean, the story is really great and all that, and it does feel like a great grand adventure, but there is kind of that lack of suspense that you feel like that you should care a little bit more with what's going on. And the thing is, you kind of are a little more hooked on playing the game as opposed to being hooked on the story itself. But the thing is that those problems really don't make the game bad in any way. The characters are still great, it's written really well, the story is basic enough that it's pretty much good on its own, and of course the gameplay itself is very solid. Has it dated over time? Absolutely, but very little. It's still a really great game, and it's one that I'll recommend to anybody who just got a PlayStation 4. So if you just got a PlayStation 4, or if you do have a PlayStation 4 now, then definitely get Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. And yeah, it's still a great game. It's deserving its 8 out of 10, and it's one that I will recommend to anyone who hasn't played Uncharted or anything else. And if you haven't gotten yourself into any shooter games, I can fully understand that. I mean, I never wanted to get myself into any shooter games and all that, but I'm a guy who likes variety, and I want to get myself into a bunch of great games. And you know what? Uncharted is a great game. And I can only hope that Uncharted 2, Among the Thieves, or I think it doesn't have the word the, Among Thieves, yeah, it doesn't have the word the, can actually improve on some of these aspects and give the game a lot more character development, as well as make the story a lot more suspenseful. And yeah, hopefully Uncharted 2 improves on Uncharted's flaws. So, thank you guys so much for watching my review on Uncharted, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next Uncharted review when I review Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Goodbye.